Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, good evening, welcome. Welcome to Rangers Radio. Change of plan, of course, in this wonderful wet evening. Join myself, Oxford, on the show. As guest, it's Wednesday. Evening, boys.
Evening, Ox. Evening to my big mucker, Stevie. Unexpected tonight. Thought would be at Dens Park. Good evening to everyone listening in this evening, and good evening to everyone on the YouTube feed. Wardy and his mob.
Evening, big man.
Good evening to all the boys doing the techies. Good evening, listeners. Yes, it is the Dream Team Wednesday. How are we, trips? All right?
That's the longest you've been on the show. You've not mentioned go bathrooms, Biggie.
Yes, aye. Well, fair play to them, by the way. Big man turned.
They said they do it and they done it, eh?
Yes. Big man turned up on Sunday with a ticket and a programme and a badge for the big boy Liam. And by the way, he's nothing like Liam Neeson.
All right. Big gentleman.
Total bear. Good man. Nice
Good
big
mate.
boy.
Good, mate. Good. That was good. Good day had been off. Just a pity we couldn't get an hour goal. Well, we did get an hour goal, but that's another story. Listen, I think there's only one thing we can talk about tonight, Southsider. But we'll talk about what's happened today. But I think it's an opportunity maybe to talk about the state of Scottish football, if we're honest, yeah, and work our way through it. You know, we'll talk about maybe pitches, facilities, fixtures, the split, the governments, the TVO deal, the organisation, the management, and how it's slowly hating itself to death. And you wonder who's got an agenda in it. Southside.
Aye, you just wrote off a list. We could be here for 2 weeks. Maybe get the Dundee game played. Listen, the day it's shocking again. Called off as 5, is it? Times for games postponed. But the day when you seen the pictures of the first time at 11 o'clock this morning, you had an idea that when they were coming back at 3 o'clock or after, that game was unlikely to get played. I heard Derek Drysdale earlier. He's blaming global warming and 35 mil of rain on us.
The line of the night was, I think somebody said, well, how have they not got global warming in paradise?
I know. I mean, unbelievable, isn't it? I couldn't believe it when he actually was coming up with that nonsense. I mean, see, at the end of the day, I think they've sacked all the ground staff they had at one point. Now, I don't know whether they were doing a bad job or what, but I don't remember Dundee having a lot of games postponed in the past, and I think their pitch has been like that for a while. They've not invested in their park. They've not invested in the playing surface over the years. That's what the issue is, obviously. And rain, obviously, causes them major problems.
Yeah. I think they've just announced a £3 million loss for the last financial year, but that's another story. Stevie, ultimately, the people it hurts is, if you like, the travelling fans. It might annoy and upset others, but the travelling fans who make plans, the supporters buses who organise, book buses, people who take off shifts after work, make plans accordingly if they're self-employed. All these things are factored in, and look, we accept if there's a freak snowstorm. I'll even give Ross County a bit of a pass, even I thought that was a farce because they couldn't travel early. When that game got called off at Christmas, you get extreme weather. But rain in Scotland isn't extreme, Stevie.
No, not when every other game's getting played, Docs. Not when every other game's getting played. Listen, look, it's as plain as simple as this. You're totally right. The Rangers fans the last 2 weeks have took off shifts after work, booked hotels, flights, boats and everything. And it's the old case of when you put money down against a bus to go up there with, you'll not get your full refund. So these supporters clubs are out of pocket and everything. It's an absolute disgrace. Now, I swore I wouldn't get into a rant here, but I'm going to get into one. The whole of Scottish football needs ripped up, started again. You've got Doncaster client, or whatever he's called, that other clown. These guys here, they know nothing. They're just self-centred. They're just looking after them. They're not looking after the bigger picture. Scottish football's woeful. The package for the promoting the game to all our sponsors. Our national stadium is the worst national stadium out there. You can't get parked. There's no facilities. You're too far away from the ground, and it just goes on and on and on. And by the way, the whole setup, and it's just for me. And you might think I'm daft getting into a rant here and saying this, but I just see there's only one team benefited to that for this whole Scottish setup as Celtic, giving them titles that haven't even won, new rules, goalposts getting moved. That's ought to suit one club, but the whole package from top to bottom, even the deal, Cinch deal, right through for Mr. Park taking them to court with inflicting everything about the game is total and utter crap, and the last guys to know and last guys to get treated is the fans, the ones that pay their money and make the game.
I get it, mate. Right, you get a line of his brown paper bag and breathe, right? Pass it over, Southside. Pass it over. Right. Listen, a lot of that I couldn't agree more. We'll get to some of that stuff, Stevie, but I think you make some pertinent points there. Southside, look, as I said, we understand fully freak conditions, right? That game was most likely called off today, and they maybe shouldn't have even played at the weekend. But the reason they had to play at the weekend because the whole farce of the split, and we'll start with that, the split. This is what the issue has caused in the top league. Now, take us out the equation and just say it was any other team in the same situation and they were playing for a position. It still puts the whole thing up in the air and turns it into a farce. So first of all, you start with getting rid of the split. Southside.
You probably have to. I think you have to expand the league slightly. I don't know how many people want to go up to, but I think there's enough, at least scope for another 2 teams, maybe 4 at a push. I don't know if you can go to 18, but the split, I just don't get it. As you say, they said it used to balance itself out season after season. I think you either get 19 home games or 18 home games in it. Sometimes I think you've had 17, the way it's worked out, I believe. I'm not sure, but there's something like that. It's mad. And every team doesn't finish every year the same, and there's always an extra team that comes in, and then they're meant to take the other team's fixtures. And the fact that teams can finish underneath 6th place, can finish with more points in 7th or 8th than the team in 6th, it's madness. So I've never really liked that. I know what they try to do to create that mean games that mean something towards the end of the season, but I don't like it. I would rather they just played it out. Normally, you play each other 2 or 4 times a season, whatever it is you want to do, and the league's just played to a finish. That's the way I like it, but we've been used to it for so long, Ox.
20, I think it's 22 years or something, mate.
Aye.
2001 or something like that started.
We've had it for that long now, but
I've never liked it. I think it's a silly idea, and I don't think it ever worked. That's my personal opinion. Somebody might phone in, Stevie, and give another opinion. No, that's what's caused the problem in the league. Yeah, that's what's caused the issue. But then you've got the farce that is Dundee Football Club. Now that's 5 games, arguably 6 if you believe Andy Halliday, and he said the game should have been called after the weekend as well. You know that they've only played, it's like 33% of their games have nearly been called off this season. It's ridiculous, Stevie.
Aye. Well, they've not got a lot, as a football club, they've not got a lot going for them, have they? They've got computers that don't work, their pitch doesn't work. I mean, they're just a joke. They're an absolute farce. Absolute joke for that. And he's on the night shouting about climate change. So the climate change for Dens Park to Tannadice is different. That must be the equator, eh?
It might be El Nino.
It's just absolute bonkers, Ox. I just think, even you're talking about the split there to Southside, right? Mm. What club has that benefited? Everything there's been a split. We've had better away games. Is that correct? It's just the way it falls. It's just the way it works. It's the same old story. I keep getting back to it, but look, I'm trying to stick to Dundee. We need to rip it up. We need to state of Scottish football. We need to rip it up, start again. We need to get football men in place, guys that know a wee bit about the game. These other people obviously don't, and that's how the product is going down the tubes slowly but surely.
Yeah, I don't believe we've got a sponsorship deal for the top league in place for next season. Obviously, we've got the same TV deal, and if you take the high of Scottish football at 1.4 million, a 12 o'clock kickoff. Remember, it's not the most popular time south side. 1.4 million legitimate punters watched that game on Sunday, all over the world. Well, all the UK, I believe, sorry. And top viewing figures. And then we have this farce a couple of days later. So you take a giant step forward with your league. People saying, what a game. They might have been neutrals and choose one of the clubs, hopefully the one in blue. And then we have this farce a couple of days later, Southside.
No, for us it wasn't, but for the neutral people that are watching it around the world that didn't want Rangers to win, it would have been a great spectacle for them to watch. There was all sorts happening, VAR and all that getting involved, refereeing decisions. So, and they probably built it up before the game, Sky, which they normally do, but for a spectacle wise it was good for people to watch in. But when you just come back to, you might be playing a league game, I mean, Dundee's in the top 6 Hawks, you know, or they're potentially going to end up in the top 6 of the Premier competition in Scotland. In their park, if it rains, they have trouble in making the surface playable. And then they think the answer was just to fling sand down. Andy Halliday mentioned that. He said, it's good to say because we won, but that part wasn't playable. He said it wasn't a good surface or anything like to play on. So they've obviously forced it on that the week before, but it's not a good advert for Scottish football at all to promote the game. And even like you say, if there's probably a lot of pitches out there round about. I know there's one just across the road, but there'll be plenty of pitches round about there that are playable. It's just they've got an issue with their surface and their ground and the undersoil heating and the pipes and whatnot, but they've known about it, so they can say they maybe lost money, Ox, but they've got to, they should be reinvesting in their pitch somehow over the last few seasons to make sure that it is playable, and not just say global warming last year, 35 millimetres of rain has caused this problem. It rains all the time in Scotland. No.
I get it. I mean, I think they said 35%. Was the 35 million? 35% higher rainfall. But listen, unless that falls at the exact time, you should be able to cope for it. It's a professional surface. It's no a public park, Stevie.
Listen, what's the losses? You mentioned losses there. Who's putting these figures out?
No, it was actually announced yesterday, mate. Their losses. I'll see if we can get the exact amount for you and where it came from. If you give me 2 seconds, but I think it was about nearly 3 million quid they lost. Just give me a couple of minutes, mate. A couple of seconds. Aye, just in Dundee, aye.
Listen, they deserve everything they get, because I don't know how many times we got to Dundee and the bells are outside looking for tickets and you get in and their end behind the goal's empty, the other side of their stand's empty. They could easily put all the Dundee fans in one end and start earning money and start making the product better. Would it not be better? You're talking about neutrals watching their game. Would it not be better than watching the telly and seeing the four stands full, whether it's Rangers fans or Dundee fans? It would make Scottish football, the product, a lot better, because it's just not happening otherwise.
Aye, it was just an article at 2.8 million for May up until May 23, mate. Yeah, as they push for promotion, obviously.
A new stand then. How can they afford to build a new stadium then?
Obviously, the money was meant to come from elsewhere. But look, I don't know how we sort this out, this mess, because there's a plan B to play it next Wednesday. But as far as I make out, Stevie, there's no a plan C if it rains between now and next Wednesday, which obviously we're moving into the real spring, but it's still possible, mate. April showers.
How did they not safeguard themselves? How did they not say, right, this is my last bite at this cherry. Now, we'll play it next Wednesday, a week a day, but we're not playing it in Dens, because what if it's raining again? Then it's got to be off again. So why don't we move the game to Tynecastle? Dundee can say to Hearts, right, you can get the hospitality money. He owns the stadium for 50 grand or whatever it is.
Hearts will say no.
What the?
Aye.
After we're making money.
How are they going to make money, mate?
Well, they'd make money in hospitality, wouldn't they?
They need to organise all that, and they don't know how many people's going to turn up for Dundee. You're assuming that the Bears go through there and fill it, yeah?
It's certainly going to be the Rangers that's going to take all the hospitality, isn't it?
Aye, but Dundee would be the home team, mate. It's just, the whole thing's a mess, Southside. The whole thing's a mess.
Aye, and listen, they always played that they've not got any money, but let's be honest, it's the playing surface. I know there's a lot in that ground that they'll no put money into, right? And there's a lot, I think there's a bit it's shut down in it. That sort of shed across there, go along a bit the terracing that doesn't, you used to have that open, but that's all shut down. I don't even know if we're using that sort of shed for a while. But it's ancient, isn't it? Their grund's falling apart, let's be honest, apart for the two stands that they actually built at either end. And it's no great even entry going into the main stand and that up there as well. But Tannadice is the exact same and all. It's another coupe and all when you go to it, no. But listen, they've just not invested in their stadium. It's shocking. The game's getting put on Sky where we're going to get money for it as well.
There's an idea for you in Southside. When there's 3,000 empty seats and there's 3,000 Bears, and if we're honest, maybe them and all, but if there's 3,000 Bears wanting tickets at roughly £30-40 a ticket, which would bring in 120,000 quid twice a season, which is $250,000, which in 2 nights is 10% of your losses. Would it not make sense to do it?
Aye, 100%. But they just don't invest in. They just want to take the blue pound when it comes, as maximise it as much as possible, and then they just. I mean, what did it cost them to probably do their pitch and something? I think Motherwell done theirs, wasn't it, a while back? They had a lot of problems with their park.
Mm-hmm.
At Fir Park, I think they were about £100,000 or something. I think they said they invested into their park. Well, you just done the maths there. You know, they could easily have sorted their park out in one season. We're reinvesting in it.
Right.
But they've obviously got a longer term aim to be leaving there because they've applied to the council and all that to move in it. I think they're trying to build a 10,000 old seater somewhere.
That's not going to happen overnight, Stevie, is it?
No. The truth of the matter is, they would rather be skint than give Rangers fans more tickets. Because it's Scottish football hating themselves to death. That's just how it is. It's just the whole package, the whole thing. We're just hating ourselves to death in every department. They just can't stick the Rangers fans. They'll do anything but just see sense and to help themselves. They would rather commit suicide than help themselves. They really would. That's just how they are as a club, all these clubs. It's a joke, an absolute joke. Every week I've got to fight to get tickets. We all moan about my jerseys, they dishing out enough tickets, and we go up there, me and plenty other Bears, all outside gruns, try to get into a grun, and lo and behold, the other 3 ends are empty. And then at the end of the season, poor Dundee are in debt. They've lost 3-point-something million quid. That's because you hate it yourself to death. Open it up. Start using your heat. Be smarter.
Right. Aye, so we'll get the phone lines out there because I imagine there'll be a lot of frustrated and if no angry Bears, Steve here.
Aye, of course there's going to be guys that made travelling arrangements, booked hotels, took off shifts after work, booked buses.
And don't forget Fox, his tradition, he gets I don't know if I've ever told you this, when there's a game on he gets himself a Victoria sponge.
It was a Swiss roll man, I know.
No, Victoria sponge when the game's on. He's a man of routine, Southside.
Nothing wrong with routine. I just got a text from the Murrable groundsman there. My wee pal, he says he spent 1.25 million on the pitch, and I'll no say what he said at the end of it.
All right, okay. What to you?
Aye, me, aye, obviously. I'm not going to read that out. But that's right, it starts with an F. I'll give you a clue, right? And maybe ends in a U.
Feel you?
I'm glad he listens. I'm glad he listens to Rangers Radio.
Aye. So they're spending that money to sort their park out because ultimately you'll get it back. Yeah. You know, but anyway, right, we'll get the punters in. Hopefully there'll be some punters with lots to say on this subject before we go through the rest of the farce. So let's hear from me.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Well, we should have a Victoria Sponge competition and send them out to Fox. What do you think, Stevie?
Don't get peace to eat it.
Oh dear.
Get the bells in. Come on, bells. The big station serving a nation. Dream Team Wednesday. Get that phone lifted.
Yes, did you hear about the big guy next to you running around the living room on the Monday with his bets started with a tap over the head there?
Right. Brilliant. I was pleased for him. I met him the other day because he had a wee consignment of different edibles for me, and he was telling me about his bet, and I'm pleased for him. The man deserves it. The stick the man takes on this show over at Super 6 is unwanted. That's terrible. So well done to him.
Listen, and Saturday I done nothing but stick up for him. I did.
Aye. So you, didn't he?
You've got to admit, it was funny.
I thought about placing his head on the table, Stevie, but I had to go with the banter.
I think if you're being honest, maybe Old Bear was giving you more grief for that was.
Aye, I know I should have listened to him. I should have listened to say I do agree with him, I should have. But you know what it's like.
Aye, in the moment, mate, in the moment.
And a few share bits done, you just think, well, what can go wrong? What could go wrong?
I'll tell you about when Big Mark McPhee walked in.
Aye, you're right. Aye, I know. Cornered me straight away. The Corby team.
It was quite funny with the 29 chance for getting beat 2-0 after a few minutes. Couldn't believe
2-0.
Could not believe it.
No, they get back and winning ways last night, you know.
Oh, aye, well, it's all fun, mate. It was brilliant. Comedy goal. Good day had by all, mate.
Aye, it was a good day. It certainly went longer than I thought it would have.
Yes, it certainly did.
Wasn't in the plans, but you know what happens when you're enjoying yourself.
Yes, well, if you're not going to stay out to shutting time, there's no point in it, is there?
That's what disappoints me. I'm coming home at shutting time. We used to go a bit longer.
Aye, we did, mate, we did. Anyway, we digress. Right, okay. Come and join us, give your thoughts on this farce today. Stevie, I'll give you my thoughts briefly on Scottish football. And I like that saying, hating itself to death, because I couldn't agree more. Well, the rank people are in charge.
Yep.
They've benefited and tried, and we can see right through their motivation. Their motivation isn't to grow the game. If you get it right, all the clubs will benefit, including ourselves. You'll have a better product with better facilities, and that'll lead to better money, and then you'll end up with better players in the park and better pitches because you've got more money. There should be a lot more minimum standards. They've got to look at the facilities for the supporters, and that's not just including us, that's at every away game. I mean, some of this, as you right, I think it was Southside touched on the state of the two grounds in Dundee. Well, they've got to get it sorted out. We have to look at it. Not that long ago, you couldn't get into the top flight unless you had certain standards, facilities. Saved Aberdeen, I think it was Falkirk, Southside, that they have the correct facilities to be promoted.
Aye.
Aye. So you've got to use a bit of common sense. If you want to play in the top league and take a share of the bigger pie. You've got to have the correct facilities, the correct playing surface. Do you think if somebody didn't have the right park, and I'm not talking about, say, Luton who have got promoted, if their park wasn't right, do you think they'd have let them in the Premier League in England? No their ground, which they're working on and they're planning a new ground, similar to Dundee. But if their games and their pitch didn't meet the standard and it's been called off 33% of the time, do you think they'd have been allowed in the top league? Stevie?
No. Listen,
No.
I know what all the English pundits and all the English people look at our game. We're just a joke apart from the two big clubs. That's how people look at us. The whole thing's a total and utter mess. You couldn't have said anything right there. You know, these two guys at the top of that tree, they're in it for dough, they're in it for self-gain. They're not interested in making it a better for fans or a better spectacle or nothing like it. Nothing like it whatsoever. It's never going to change. You've got guys pulling deer strings at the top of the tree. And you all know who I'm talking about without getting into it.
So don't disagree. So you've got the fast of the facilities, south side, and then you look at the deal that has been signed with the Sky deal, where it sits when you consider some of the package you've got with the big numbers. You've got the Cinch deal that turned out to be a farce. We've never really found out what the legal costs has come off the top line of that, so that's turned into a farce. I don't believe we've got sponsorship for the top flight for next year. Well, the fixtures will be coming out in 2 months' time. You know, and you could go on and on and on, yeah.
Aye. What did they say?
If it's raining, we'll not get this season finished.
I know.
Aye.
I know.
Anyway, just been sent. Like you've been sent with the groundsman. I've been sent for Luton's #1 fan. They had to spend 10 million just so they could play their home games. If they didn't do that, they wouldn't have been allowed to enter the league.
Because they've got a far superior product that they show week in, week out down there. They market it to a point. Don't get me wrong, some of their games been, if you watched that game last week with Arsenal and Man City, there might have been some nice passing in that, but the game wasn't exactly exciting, was it, to watch, which I thought it would have been. But they don't have great games, but they can market them up even when it's Burnley against whatever, Bournemouth. You know, they'll still promote it. If you watch Sky and leading up to that, they keep showing it it's a game and they call it something and they build it up. But up here, the only thing they sort of build up, and even Sky, they don't. But what did they give? Did they give a full hour before the game started on Sunday? Or did they give it a full hour, or was it a half hour? Sometimes we've had total half hours, haven't we, before the game starts? Sky don't even.
11 o'clock, mate. I think it's
was it?
11.
So you got a full hour, a build up. But
that was with you, so I would I know.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know if they won it half 11 or 11 or what. So, but at the same time, it's just a total gesture to be getting a payment. And let's be honest, the product we watch, Ox, when we buy our season books, what do you actually buy them for? You buy them for to go and watch the games against them, Aberdeen, Hibs, and Aberdeen. Aye, first and foremost, right? But as you're going to watch the games, Ox, you're going to see entertainment.
Aye.
So at the end of the day, you get a club of money because you love the club, you want to go and see a game of football, but you're buying it mainly because it's against them, against Aberdeen, Hearts and Hibs. The rest of them, you expect to beat and you expect to know what you're going to get when you turn up. Aye, all right, Motherwell shocked as people will be shouting just a couple of weeks ago, but first time since what? Lonnie Coyle done it in that game, we should have won the league or something back then. And they done us on the Saturday. Had to go to Tannadice, I think, win the league. That's how far back it was, do you know what I mean? You get the odd shock, but, you know, that's what you buy your book for, to see the games. The rest of them are just run-of-the-mill games, for me anyway, at Ibrox, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no cheap to go and buy a season book at Ibrox either, but it is cheap compared to what you'd be paying if we were in the Premiership.
Aye, I get it.
Can I just say, Southside, you're totally right. Down in England, they have got better setups, but they all started somewhere, mate. They all dug their heels in and started. They all say, right, what can we do here? How are we going to make this better? And they didn't start off with figures like £10 million. All right, the prize money, the TV money, it's all better. But that's because they all started somewhere. They all dug their heels in, borrowed money, they put in, they accumulated to speculate. We don't do that up here. Us these wee teams do up here is just take, and they don't want to upgrade. I'm telling you now, how does Dundee United get a fire pass while that's done? That was the first I had been in that for years. I'm not meaning I've been up there a million times at games, but that put up that story, me and Jamie, and I was like, look at the state of this place, man. It's hanging. Absolute hanging. Not safe.
The wee corner stand.
Yeah, up there, up in the heavens. That's the first time I'd been up there in years and years, but I've been up others at times every season, but no one there. But me and Jamie, look at the state of this place, man. I'm telling you now, and most of their stadiums are like that, they just keep taking, and they don't renew, they don't put in, they don't speculate, accumulate, they just keep take, and then they moan, oh, we've made losses. Well, start dishing out tickets, start acting a white man. Who's in charge here, man? Who's the businessman in charge of this club? What are they doing for your club? They're not looking after it for the future, they're just there for the quick fix.
Just to let you know, Southside, there is other colour of men available.
Yes. Look, since Dundee United, the Jerry Kerr stand, one's wooden staircase up to it, and you go in that tap section, and that's the only way in and out. You come in there, run at the other end behind the goal, and you've seen the toilet facilities that will hold about 5 of yous in it. you know, I mean, that's it for that whole stand behind the goal. You know,
there's 3 in it. There might only be 3 in
it. But you know what I'm saying? The facilities you get when you go to the Gruns and all, they're no great, as we've seen. And they're charging what I think Dundee, I think that ticket I've put back in the mantle up there next to the window again, so I don't lose it. Was £33. You know, it's been off the window ledge twice now. Come off them and back on, come back half a day and back on there. So, but aye, £33 ops, you know what I mean?
There you go, 3,000 empty seats at £33. That's £100,000. 4 times, potentially 4 times, just against us and them. There's £400,000, just like that.
There you go.
Well, they were all going to do their sell-out Saturdays, weren't they? That's what they proclaimed they were going to do, but didn't get in too well, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not including anything else to sell, programmes, pies.
Yeah, it's always pies with you.
Piles of pies.
Aye, but you're right.
You see, Bridgeman, I'm going to start listening to Bridgeman, by the way. Bridgeman's right. Don't give him a penny. Don't give them nothing. They don't deserve anything. They're an absolute disaster.
Is this the issue? But if we don't watch, if you've done that, and I get the sentiment, and I've always agreed with Bridges' sentiment. However, it's difficult because if we don't, the thing will just collapse, and that will ultimately affect us, Stevie.
I get it. I do get it. You've got to think, right, okay, you lose the battle and win the war. I get it. Bridgeman's right. We all get it, right? But a bit of anger. There's a couple of clubs out there, Ox, I'd love to see folding for what they done to your club.
Oh, never forget, Stevie.
Listen, and Dundee United's one of them. They would out their road to stick the knife in at every single opportunity they could. They were very boisterous. They were very right. And Ali McCoy was right. Kick us doing well, we're doing, we'll not always be doing, and we won it. And I would have loved, as an away fan, gone on away days. And I know it's easy to say. It's only me and what I personally think. I'd have loved it for all the Rangers fans to say, no, what, we're not going to Tannadice, here all your money, here all your tickets back, we're not giving you a penny. It's hard, but when you've got guys that go constantly all the time, it's an easy thing to do. But anyway, listen, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place with them. You know, you need them. All it takes 2 idiots to outvote a genius.
Correct, mate, correct. There's a third vote in. Evening, David.
Good evening, boys. Good evening. How are the Three Musketeers?
He missed that one, Stevie. There's a third vote in. Evening, David.
A bit annoyed because we should be up at Dens Park, Davey, shouldn't we?
I'll get to that. But I think what I want to bring up is what Ox was saying earlier, and it's a very valid point. There shouldn't have been no split. Can I ask you all this? How many other top leagues, if you could call it a top league, have a split? Tell me that.
I think Belgium, Holland and Switzerland are off the top of my head, mate.
They do. Well, that's answered that question.
Yes.
Because it definitely doesn't work here.
I would need to check it out, but I think, and I've not checked it out, but I think Belgium, Holland and Switzerland have something. Davey, the question I would ask you, and you're what, mid-40s? Yeah?
Around the waist.
Yeah. Right, if I asked you that, if you've discussed this over the years with loads of people, do you know any football fan, stroke Rangers fan, who thinks the split's a good idea?
Well, as I say, you've got me now. No, not really, no.
No, I've never heard anybody I've discussed it with think it's a good idea. Southside then, Stevie.
No, I don't. I've no. I mean, when it came in, and it just what annoyed me is right for the start is when we were talking about the split and that, and how you'd have to go away and play some team 3 times in the one season. And I thought, all right, but it's all right, guys. It'll balance itself out next year. Don't worry about it. That's what we get told, no, because it used to be they'll hang it up by the top sort of 6. You always thought it would be Rangers, them, Aberdeen, Dundee United, Hibs, Hearts, and then certain Motherwell got a run at it. Kilmarnock started to go into it and all that, and one team might come out. But I just don't like that, David. The fact that you can, it's how did they do the split? How did they work it out? No. We will be away 3 times at the split, right? That's guaranteed because we're away to them as it works out, and next year we'll be at home to them. So you know that, but it's where do they put us again? It's how do they work out? Should we go to Kilmarnock, or do they go to Kilmarnock, or do we go to Hearts? How do they work it out?
We go to Hearts and
Hibs and them. I think it'd be Hearts, Hibs and them. If Hibs get in the top 6, it would have been.
Mm-hmm. But,
that's where I thought it would be.
It's a farce. Davey, what's your comments on the day's farce? Never mind the split.
Well, I'm glad it didn't go ahead, actually, because it's absolutely wild out there. But the way they handled it, that should have been dealt with long before it went to where it did, because as you were talking about it earlier, people doing this and people doing that, it's no any... Don't consider that. Just do the thing. If you think to go out there tonight and try and get a result, I think the right decision. Not so much for the football part of it, but to try and play in that would have been a nightmare.
Do you think it's fair, David, that we have to play a game next Wednesday before a big semi-final?
No. Not at all.
Injuries. What we get injured?
Yeah. But that's where your split comes in.
So why should we be punished? Why should Rangers be punished? What if Rangers turn around next Wednesday? What if Rangers turn around and say, well, we're not playing them next Wednesday? We've got a big cup tie. Could they punish Rangers?
Because you could if you refuse to play, mate. You'd open that up kind of worms. But what... Stevie, I'll turn your question slightly different. What happens is it's peeing down all day next Wednesday and you can't play
it? Listen, as I said earlier on, they should have just took it out Dundee's hands. If it is really, so we've got to watch wee Sean Batty now to see whether the game's got to go ahead now. Is that what we're
Sean Batty's chucked it. It's Eric Drysdale now. He's the new Sean Batty, isn't he? Talk about global warming and all that.
Aye, and who's his pal? Let's get into it. Who's his Southside?
What a statement that was, wasn't it? What a statement that was. Did you see him on Sky and he's like about global warming?
What a wallop!
And all the things come in about what about Paradise, and obviously St Johnstone's pitch isn't great, but there's no being called off. You've got Aberdeen further north. You're surrounded by football grounds in the west of Scotland, and it's only happened to them. Yeah, just at least have the decency, Davy, to tell the truth.
Correct.
I mean, realistically, we need to have a heat wave for now to Wednesday. And by the way, I'll be watching it in Fuerteventura, guys. So have a piece of that. I'll be in the sunshine.
Never wished for rain so much in my life in Fuerteventura.
Okay, no, it's a shambles. That was the first thing I said when I texted my mate. I went, "Oh, shambles! It shouldn't be happening. No, in this day and age, and it should be rectified."
Oh, see two of the stadiums off the top of my head are exposed to all weather elements, and there's hardly a game. They might get the odd game. Listen, there's probably, if you look back, there's probably been the odd game called off. Inverness, Cali, Thistle, if you think how they're situated and the weather they get, right? I'm not getting right up. I'm just thinking the teams in Arbroath.
Aye. What about the Martins Grun when we played there in the Cup? That still managed to get put on.
Aye, they get some games. They get postponed by a period of time at Dumbarton. But I'm talking about Inverness hardly ever get a game called off, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And near does Arbroath, and they're exposed to plenty of the elements. You know what I mean?
Arbroath is miles and miles and miles away from Dundee. Not
correct.
It's only on the road.
Aye.
You know, just a farce. But Stevie, how do we change that? Hibs have come out with a statement about sporting integrity. Aberdeen have come out with a statement today about the mess Spars in. Their farmers they bought at the weekend. And again, the whole thing is just a mess, isn't it?
I've said that again. For the National Stadium, right through all these clubs, everything, it's just an absolute joke. For top to bottom, and he dripped up. The people that run it, they weren't even fit by men in the first place. They don't know how to get sponsors. They don't know how to sell the product. When they move the goalposts to suit certain clubs. It's just an absolute joke for top to bottom. Honestly, the early Aberdeen game, I heard there was something wrong with VAR. They couldn't draw a line to see if the boy was offside when the ball was played through and all this. So they just had a guess. And I think they guessed right or something. I heard that right. But it's just an absolute joke. Do you know the Dundee fire station were playing tonight? And their game went ahead. And they were all a mile away from Dens Park. Dundee fire station.
Aye, that'll be in a public park, Stevie, yeah?
Correct. There you go. It was mentioned on another platform tonight. So there you go. It just makes you laugh. I mean, the other day, the first game, when the first game get put off, it was the only club game in Britain. The gaff, even all the women's games went ahead.
Can you name that Dundee Fire Station team? I think it was Pooh. What was it? Southside Pooh, Barlow McGrew, Cuthbert, Devil and Grub.
So the fireman Sam.
He was a sub. Oh dear. Anyway, sorry about that. That was a bad joke. It's a good point you make, Stevie. And you come, Davey.
No, just carry on, guys. I'm listening, but I said that on Sunday when we were talking to what's the word? Wasn't digesting the game, dissecting the game. I mentioned that. I said to, I think it was yourself, so talking about it. I says, well, look, guys, and this game came into the conversation, and I says, well, I've seen a bit of the highlights of the Motherwell game, and it was like Troon Beach, and I says, how we're going to play that again midweek is beyond me. And there we go. And that was in the Sunday.
I reckon there's been one game on that pitch in 5 weeks. Because obviously we've just back for the international break. They played away at St Johnstone. Their game against us was called off. Yeah. And they played, I think, the Wednesday before our game was called off against Dundee. I reckon that's about 5 weeks. Maybe tonight they played Aberdeen. I'll check it out exactly. And there's only been one game played on it since then. And it's still unplayable. I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's outside.
Aye, well, if it fails next Wednesday, as it's been scheduled for, then that's just going to create chaos. What would they play it the week after, the midweek after? They would try and fit it in after the semi-final, before the split. Do you think that'd be real? You know, that's our rules. It should be a case of, listen, if this, we need to have a plan B, but there can't be going to, I think they tried it with Motherwell. I don't know if it was true. I seen something they were trying to move it to Broadwood or something. But there's no way that we move that anywhere else than back to Ibrox. That's what I'd be saying to them. If you can't facilitate the game next Wednesday, and you know, I don't even know if Rangers could take that short space of time, I don't know, but just reverse the fixture. Sometimes you have to play 3 teams away from home, so we'll just make you play them now. Should you get into the top 6, then we'll just...
It's not just us, Stevie. Yes, you can't issue the other fixtures. You can't say who's travelling where. You don't know. You can't arrange TV. You can't arrange supporters buses because you don't know you're playing at Ibrox or you're travelling to Tynecastle.
Well, you just have to look at the state of the park. 2 days or 3, I don't know. Well, see that else. You just have to go with an postponement and you just need to go for another date, and that's the way it's going to be, isn't it?
4 weeks a day. They've played one game on it in 4 weeks. Yeah. They played on the 13th of December, 13th of March against Aberdeen the Wednesday. Their game against us on the Sunday was called off, and then they played Motherwell 3 weeks after that to the day, and then the game 4 weeks to the last played on it. One game in 4 weeks, Stevie, and the pitch is unplayable.
Mate, listen, what is the groundsman doing? I know you can't blame the groundsman if they're not giving them the finances to keep it up to scratch, but I mean, 4 weeks. I mean, after that statement tonight for that guy about the climate, I think he's smoking the grass. Never mind anything else. I mean, I honestly, I don't even know what to say. It's just a total and utter farce. And we'll never recruit, the Brels will never recruit all the money that we've wasted the last 2 Wednesdays trying to get this game, go to the game, and supporters clubs. We all know how hard it is to run, ticket scenario, ordering buses, bells for different districts, sharing buses for financial reasons, and it's an absolute joke. The Rangers fans are due a big one back after the Dundee. They should be financing, putting some money back our way to the Bears that's put up with us.
Here's another question. Text in with Albert. You'll like this one. You'll like this one, Stevie. What happens if they make the top 6 and the results go their way at the weekend? They make the top 6, and then between now and the end of the season, 3 of their games are called off at home.
Oh, sure, but you're just stirring the pot now, so yeah. It could happen, man.
Well, it's not going to, if it's not playable and no so to do it in a month's outside with one game played on it.
Aye, I think the problem is it's something today, obviously, with the drainage system of the park. Something's blocking and they're not managing to get the water away off the surface. Should it rain even 2 or 3 days a week, if the park's not covered, then it's obviously going to take more rain on top of it, and then the surface becomes unsteady on your feet. And if it's just going to be damp like that all the time and there's no way of getting the park to dry out, or they can't get the water to come away from the park, then it's still always, Bears right, a couple of weeks down the line it could still be an ongoing issue. Because nobody's saying that it's not going to rain for the next so long, It rains all year round here, So it's, but you know what I'm saying? It's taking a lot of water now and they're struggling to get it to get it away underneath the surface. So either they have to find a way of keeping the rain off the surface altogether when it rains, and hope that it's going to get a chance to dry out underneath. So they've obviously got a major issue, but they'll have to address it, because they'll still be in that stadium, I believe, next season. So it'll have to be addressed going forward, and there'll need to be sanctions against them dished out by the SPFL.
Aye.
Have we got
Listen,
the Rangers?
yeah, I've got it, mate. I've got it here. Aye, I'm glad you mentioned that, Steve. I'll go back to it. Right, if you just bear with me. It's right. Okay, Rangers has written to the SPL outlining its position for today's further postponement of the Scottish Premiership fixture. The negligence and unprofessionalism demonstrated by the Dundee Football Club, where they have repeatedly breached SPFL rules and continue to have a damaging effect on the top professional league in this country. In a week where record TV viewing figures were recorded for a match in the same competition, and this evening's game due to be televised again by Sky Sports, this episode is deeply embarrassing and also has to be eminently avoidable. Rangers expects the SPFL to take proportionate and decisive action in accordance with its rules, and the club will continue to make representation to them in the strongest possible manner. The club has been repeatedly putting forward solutions to the SPFL which have not been taken up. Has again proposed a solution to the preparation and execution of this rescheduled fixture, and is awaiting a response from the SPFL. As things stand, the rescheduled match will be Wednesday the 17th at 8 p.m. The club considers this matter has been handled incorrectly throughout by both Dundee and the SPFL. At this time, we sympathise fully once again with our supporters, approximately 4,000 of whom will be looking forward to attending tonight's game, having already been left hugely inconvenienced and out of pocket by the first postponement last month. Is entirely unacceptable and disrespectful on the part of the DFC, and have allowed this situation to have developed again. In the statement, Stevie.
So what is the rule accordance to the rules? Obviously it said in there, I hope that they're basically held responsible. So there is a rule, so what is it? What could they get? Is it a fine, or is it points? So what is it?
I think the rules say, it said on the TV earlier night, sanctions. What that means, I don't know, Stevie. That can mean similar things, a lot of things. Southside, appropriate statement.
Aye. Probably a fine, because I think they've had enough warnings and enough chances. They might show that they're in a situation that they're struggling with for the part, and they might promise to have it sort of rectified by next year. But I mean, I think you'll probably get a fine of some kind or something. I think that's as far as it'll go, Stevie.
Southside, can I just come in?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about Scottish football. They've just released figures that they're £3 million in the red. New Scottish football is going to fine them. The whole thing is just crap. There's nothing there. There's nothing in place. There's no plan B. There's no think in the bigger picture. So Dundee's pitch wasn't up to scratch. They've been warned a few times. So let's hammer them. Let's take money off them that they've no go at. So how are they going to fix the pitch?
What would you do, Stevie?
Do you want the off the air scenario, or do you want the on the air scenario?
I'm all for free speech.
I would honestly demote them. I'd demote them. I wouldn't fine them. I'd just put them down in a different tier. I know you'd be taking money off them there too, but you've got to do something, haven't you? I'm just trying to think of the bigger picture. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate there. What if we didn't fine them? What else could we do to them? What else could you do?
We've got the rule. We'll discuss it after the tune. I think Foxy's looking for the Travis number.
Why does it always rain on me?
What about the statement, Southside?
Aye, I take it. We could have probably kept your powder dry till later the game was eventually played, but I suppose you've got to come up and react to it. And obviously the club went away and stayed up in St Andrews again, and a wasted journey, expense and that, and plus you just want to get the games going. It's a farce in the league. You're getting to this business end of the season, and Dundee, who are in the top league and sitting in a good position to get into the top six, and might even try and sneak a European. They get European football if they finish maybe fourth or something. In that top six, you get European football. So yeah. Well, even if they could sneak in there and get it, I mean, they've got a part there that they could be going and playing in a European tie, and if it's unfortunate in the middle of July that it rains in Scotland, like it usually can do, their game could be called off even for that, because rain's affecting the surface of the park. And it's an ongoing problem. So something will need to get sorted, Ox. It's not acceptable, mate. It's just not acceptable.
The only way it could be sorted, Southside, is if just for talk's sake, Rangers and Celtic give the lower less clubs, or even the top four clubs, if you want to put it, give the rest of the clubs some sort of fee to try and keep their pitch up to scratch. I heard somewhere they do that in Holland, or they do it somewhere else, Belgium or something. I can't remember where it is, but it does happen. But why should we pay for them? I'll tell
you what they should do. See, when they get money off what Rangers and them do in Europe, and they all get a share of some of the money, then they should use that to upgrade their pitches and put money into it instead of using it for other things. Then that's what they should be said. Well, know what? You need to make sure your park's playable and all that, and up to date. We're all had an issue with it for a long time and all, but they went and sorted it out. So it's no reason why Dundee, I know they'll probably not want to spend money in their stadium because they're on their ground, probably because they want to get at it. But it's affecting fixtures in the league, in the top league. And if it affects them in the split, then it'll be interesting what the SPFL do after that, because that'll be a more major concern than what it is at the moment.
Right, get yourselves on mute, because we're going to have a tune.
Down the Paisley Road, the west, the doors and the windows open wide. You will hear the people cheer, the Glasgow Rangers boys are here. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. Blue is the colour, football is the game. We're all together, Glasgow Rangers is our name. For we are the best team in all Scotland, and Glasgow Rangers is our name. So bring on the Celtic, your Hibs and Aberdeen, your Dundee United, we're the best you've ever seen. We play hand on heart, God save the Queen. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. As we go marching down the Paisley Road west, the doors and the windows open wide. You will hear the people cheer, the Glasgow Rangers boys are here. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. Blue is the colour, football is the game. We're all together, Glasgow Rangers is our name. For we are the best team in all Scotland, and Glasgow Rangers is our name. So bring on the Celtic, your Hibs and Aberdeen, your Dundee United, we're the best you've ever seen. We play hand on heart, God save the Queen. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. It's Glasgow Rangers for me.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
All right, gentlemen, I've got some of the rules. Mr. Fox kindly, always on a bit of Victoria Sponge. Rule H11, each club is under an obligation to ensure that the pitch is registered at its registered ground or other ground in which it is authorised by the SPFL board to play its home matches. I think you hear this one. It's smooth and in good condition and repaired, and is efficient and effective drainage system so it does not become unplayable due to flooding. Rule H12, the SPFL board is entitled to direct clubs to take steps as the SPFL board considers necessary in order to that the pitches in a registered ground or other ground where it authorised to play its home matches is put into and maintained in good condition and repair. So obviously, once again, the people who run my game have been negligent because they've not told them to start their ground out. Remember, this is the 5th time this season. Southside, then the bring in Old Davy, and then
it's pretty well documented. It's simple to follow, isn't it? Good playing surface. Make sure you've got good drainage so games due to the rain don't get put off by a lot of waterlogged park. So, and make sure that you keep the maintenance up. So it's all there. I don't know what the sanctions will be, mind you. That will be interesting, but it's not going to be anything too heavy. But aye, it's pretty clear and obvious, mate. So it'll be up to the SPFL to see what they're going to do. But it's there, and you can clearly see the rules, mate. There's no disputing that.
David?
Plenty of rules broke there. But I was listening to come on. Well, I was listening earlier about the Rangers statement, and I thought it was very good, and it was quite to the point. And I think if there's any kind of money getting exchanged, it should be that all the supporters that had a ticket for that game should get their money back. How you could implement it, I don't know. But if there's any money getting made to be paid, all the guys, the 2 guys that are on the show, should get their money back. Whether they've got money or no.
Well, that's all different to debate about the expenses and that. Yeah, valid point, David. Stevie?
So you felt us that the tap of the tree's been negligent and all, because the rules clearly state what they've stated, and this has happened 5 times, is that correct? Then these clowns at the top of the tree are now going to sit down and come up with sanctions, because nobody knows what the sanctions are. So these guys can get round the table depending on what team it is. So just say for talking's sake, it was Rangers that were negligent. These guys can sit down and come up with a punishment for Rangers, and I can guarantee our punishment would be different for Dundee's. These guys at the top of the tree who have been negligent themselves and let this happen 5 times. How do you get rid of these clowns? Can I ask that? How do you get rid of it, Doncaster? When does it go? When's his time? When's his Jake getting a shaky nail?
I think he's got some mad contract, mate, that it would take about 3 years to shift him. I don't know the details, I've never seen it, but I think he's got some notice period. But maybe, just maybe, your Hibs, your Aberdeens, hopefully Hearts might get back and see sense at one point, and some of the other clubs might realise what they've done to them. They've been played like a fiddle.
Of course, yeah.
But then it's when you're going to replace one of them, it's who comes forward. It used to be Petrie got a gig there when he was at Hibs. You had that David Will, who was at Brecon. No, he got a gig there. You've got lower league clubs that get a vote and get somebody on a board. But see, to be honest, you probably need it either when you go to vote somebody else in, you're voting them in, but you need to hope that you've got other people to vote in that have got a vision and a plan. Either that, Stevie, or you need to collapse the whole league. Collapse it.
That's the club representatives that get voted in, but you're talking about the actual administrators, the management, your Doncasters, the McLarens of the world, who it's their job for full time to manage the game. And I think Doncaster's salary is about £440,000, I believe. That's some of the figures I've read. So I know it's not a lot of money to you and Stevie, but to most people it's a lot of money. And so that means that he's getting paid to run in government and improve Scottish football. Has it been a success under his watch? Are the grounds better? Is the products better? Take Rangers away. Is the coefficient better?
I know what you're saying, aye. But you had David Mitchell in before him, didn't we? That Mitchell guy, I know.
Aye.
So where are they? Who's putting them in? Is it the clubs that are putting them in? Who's making the decision? Like, who gave Doncaster his job? Because McClellan only came in there a wee while ago.
We know who got Doncaster and Regan his job.
Right, so he was the guy behind it and that influenced it to get them in, right? Fair enough. Somebody had to do it.
They were getting to where I want to be.
Yeah.
We all know what's happening.
Right. I mean, know what's happened. And the other clubs are now starting to wake up because they're paying a heavy price for it. You've got Dundee, a team that's reached the last rounds of the European Cup back in the day. Yeah, they were the biggest team in the city. Obviously, their rivals had a better thing. It became a mess. Who got in tow, went against their whole traditions and got in tow with a certain club, and then was it left them? Where have they ended up? They can't even grow grass, do they?
Aye, it's basically institutionally corrupt. You know that. It's like Russia, Putin. Never get him out either. Well, they're the same. It's been going on for too long. I mean, I'm 75, and I think if I ever get any further than that, it'll still be the same. It'll be the same old, because it's right. The whole system's rotten from top to bottom and below bottom. So when you get rid of one scumbag, you're going to get another one. That's how it works.
Glad you mentioned your age. I see when you get to Fortuna, can you send you a present the first day you're there in case you don't get back?
Happy days. I'm actually just going to Blackpool. I was just kidding you, John.
Ox.
Yes, mate.
Basically what's happened is, I'm just going to say it how it is. When we went down the leagues in 2012, Lywell and all the merry men get themselves into the right places, and they made sure that we were going to pay for years and years and years. And that's what's happened. And they conned all the other teams. They conned them all. And you're right. In the long run, they were probably promised things that never even came to fruition. It's just corrupt from top to bottom. And nobody's ever going to convince me that there's been fair play in any of these leagues. Just look at all the stunts that were pulled. Drew mentioned them the other night. I can't remember, last week in the show, Ox, you went through them all, right? They done this. Remember the Phil O'Donnell thing? They couldn't play because of that, and they got other players back. And for all the times, you could mention about probably 20 different things where the goalposts were moved to suit that team for East End. And do you know why it happened? Because Doncaster was in place, and all the merry men all the way down, they had the council on board with them. They had everybody in place. And Dave was right. It's just, it's like Putin. We can't shift them. Now. They're embedded in. And that's just how I see it. And Dundee will just sit quiet, just sit there, don't say nothing. You'll get as less as punishment as we can. Thanks for the supercomputer stuff you done. Gene Celtic the league that year saying you never get the email. No. Voting. There's been a million stunts, Paul. And it's all, and do you know what's happened? Well, they've been doing it and filling their own pockets and help the team for East End. The whole product's just fell apart.
Thing, mate, and thanks for a lot of your covers to try and get a game on a dodgy pitch. Yeah.
Thanks for your tea bag.
You know, but man, don't get me started, Stevie. Don't get me started. Maybe these people maybe wake up and the biggest bricks, bigger and bigger and bigger. But anyway, well, the problem we've got is Southside. It's a league we play in, and if we don't get it sorted, it does ultimately affect us, doesn't it?
Aye, it does. Listen, the football standard that we watch week in, week out, the product's no great. We see the teams come, we see the negativity. All right, give Hibs their due, probably in the last game. They try to play it for the back. They play quite open football, and they did come and try and attack us when they could. Hearts come, they normally sit in. You're expecting them to come out and have a go because they're meant to be the third biggest team in Scotland. The product's no great when we watch it at Ibrox week in, week out. We know that. It's no great. And that's just part of the package. Because teams only wanting to maybe come and try and play against us and make it a bit open, have a go. And they're no spending even some of their youth players that they get in, probably when they could generate some money in and there's a talent there that we could try and get. Aye, sometimes we used to steal them out of the gears pretty cheaply. Some you might get running down a contract, but no, some of the prices we've been quoted out of the gears for some players we've tried to get for the Scottish teams, it's been ridiculous. Even going back to remember Jamie Walker, £1 million Hearts wanted for him. He ends up going for 200 grand down in England when they sold him. So they could, if it was a fair price and we were buying a player and he was going to be successful at us because we've seen that in him, then it generates money into them. They can reinvest it. But how many times have we been buying our Scottish clubs lately? You know, we don't seem to date anymore. If you think back, now, Scott Wright, aye, for Aberdeen, but I mean, we don't buy many Scottish players for other clubs now, do we?
We should have kept the receipt. You know, but listen, Davey, how do we go this mess, mate? How do we get it?
Well, you know, I'd get a coupon, well, it's not a coupon nowadays. I'd get a lot of help every week. Nah, I couldn't even start to explain that. Not a chance. And it'll not happen within the next whatever many years it takes, because I said it's too far. It's embedded in that lot. We all know where that comes from. We'll just go to hope we get a break in the league. That's all. We'll just hope we get a break.
You know, one of the things that concerns me is that we're sacking our manager and we lose a good coach quicker than we might do. Oh, Stevie.
You talking about us?
Aye, because of all these farces, he's like that. You're a massive club, great club, great potential, great ethos, great supporters, great stadium, great pitch. Every second week it's a circus, and no use to this. He walks because or he gets disillusioned because of the circus that is Scottish football.
It's totally. Listen, we had Gerard, right, and we had wee Brenda, right. Now, despite what we think of wee Brenda, he was a Premiership manager down there for years, and we had Gerard, a world icon, and we could not make these guys, we couldn't sell these guys, the product of these guys, a worldwide icon like Stevie G, and we couldn't put it out there, make adverts, oh, look at Scottish football, we've got this, we've got that, show a couple of goals, and promote and promote and promote. We couldn't do it, no how, because he's Stevie Gerrard, the world icon, the Rangers fans, we're not promoting him. They just can't see the bigger picture. Their hate gets the better and more of the time, and it wouldn't surprise me if guys, managers like Philip Clement, it wouldn't surprise me how the Australian guy went to thing me right away. And sure, Brenda done it to him and all. He probably had enough of what was going on behind the scenes with him. I mean, look at the players. Did the Abada not have to leave because of the Palestinian carry on? I mean, it's just... Scottish football just top to bottom, hating itself to death in every department. Us as a club, as you just ran through everything, we've got the best pitch in the business, the best stadium in the business. And we're getting back on our feet. Well, we're a wounded animal. We're starting to get back right on our feet again. But we go further in Europe than any other club in Scotland every single year. What we've done for the coefficient, and what do we get for that? No thanks whatsoever. Nobody in Scotland wants to talk about it. And nobody will come out and even say, thanks to Rangers, we've got this extra cash and we've got extra points in Europe and everything else. And we might get 2 people straight into the Champions League thanks to Rangers. Nobody admits nothing, know how, because Glasgow Rangers done it, and they hate. And that's the bottom line.
Under placement media men, because they've got a responsibility in this, because they've sold a pup to the punters who believe them, of all the clubs who have read and bought into their crap and ended up with Scottish football being in such a state. Yeah, the classic being Southside sell-out Saturday.
Sell-out Saturdays. I know, it makes you laugh when we go to all these stadiums, and now they're even talking about Hibs. If they make the top 6, we'll probably go there and they'll cut our allocation. It's laughable. And then they greet about how they've no money, and Motherwell are begging celebrities out there to try and invest in their club and all that, because they were making losses and they only want to give you one end of their stadium when they used to give you a main stand as well, half of it. So, listen, it doesn't surprise me, mate. They're hating themselves to death, and we've said it for years. And then they moan about how they're not making any money. So, it's sell your stadiums out when you can. And it'll bring in more money. And then how you invest it, whether in your playing surface or into your transfers or whatever, but you're selling your ground out. And if you're getting a TV on live on the telly as well, then it's good advert for Scottish football. And if you're going to come out and try and play football and contribute to a decent game of football, it'll make it better for the people that are watching it. But like you say, you know what they're doing, mate. It's boring to watch most of the time because it's just a defensive setup. I know against Hamilton, Livingston, against Motherwell and all that, they'll attack each other and all that. I know it's when they come and play us, but it's no good to watch at Ibrox when one team's no willing really to make an effort to try and score the other end. It's no good product to watch. So how are you expecting people to pay a lot of money into your league if your product's rotten and you're playing each other 4 times a season?
Yeah, and why is another problem? The league set up, Davey.
We could go on about this all night long. I'll ask you this: what kind of distraction, or do you think this could be a distraction? What do you think the players have got their mindset is at the moment? Do you think this will? I don't think Clement would let it affect them, but I'm just wondering what they're feeling at the moment. You know. Just what their opinion would be.
Stevie?
What do I think? Whose opinion would be, Davey?
Just how this would affect the mentality of the players, the way it's all getting handled. You know, try to focus on the next game, and obviously the professional football players shouldn't. But it must affect them in some sense.
I don't, Davey, I don't listen. I think the Rangers players don't listen to the outside noise, and that's including us too. Some of the stuff the fans say about them and stuff like that. I don't think they listen to the outside noise. But it's preparing for games, as Clement says. We could have had a day's training, you know. Maybe affect in preparation a wee bit, I think. But they're professionals. They should be able to adapt, you know what I mean? But you're right, it probably does affect them at the fact that preparation and stuff like that, no. I mean, overnight stays, staying away from your family and stuff like that. No. For what? For this crap product.
Okay.
Like I say, Davey, we pay a lot of money. The league 4 times a season, and you get the team in the cup and all. If you look at the whole setup, if you looked how they tried to do it with the Lowland League, and the Lowland League team that won it was meant to get promoted, and I think it was Brecon, maybe. I might be doing him a disservice, but I think it was. They proposed against it because they didn't want the Lowland League team getting promoted if they finished bottom in the 2nd division. And what they're contributing to Scottish football. What are Forfar and all these teams in Brecon, Annan, there's loads of them. Some of them would as well probably merging together because we have got a lot of teams and they're not exactly putting much in. They're hardly getting crowds at their games. I know they've supported them for some will be probably 100 year old and all that, but there's no many going to watch them, and how some of them are surviving, I don't know. But they all want a wee piece of the money when it's getting dished out to say, oh, well, it helps us and keeps us going. But what are you putting back into it? If you're even voting that teams in the Lowland League can't come into the second in there and try and do something. Is it Kelty Hearts that's come in and done no bad since they get promoted? So other teams are probably in the leagues are trying to show a wee bit of ambition lower down that are trying to come into the leagues and put money in. I think Cove had a bit of money put into them and all, and I think they're trying to do all right. So if you show teams are trying to show ambition and they're trying to get up the leagues and people are putting money into them, then hopefully they'll get up the leagues, Davey. And if they're putting money in rather than teams that are sitting down there and no contributing anything, Cowden Beef's another one. I mean, I remember going to their stadium. It's an absolute dump. You know, and how we get kettled in there. You know, I mean, it was shocking that night. And the surface in the park was disgusting as well, you know. So, Stenhouse Muir and all is another one.
Can I ask you something, Lucy? Have there been any updates on where Danilo is at this moment? And a couple of the other guys? Because, I mean, even Raskin. Raskin just seems to have been right up the map.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in our night, David. Let's stick to the subject on. Listen,
this is depressing.
I don't think it'll affect the players. They might be quite happy to take the rest this week, depending if you've got a knock. Some of them will be anxious to play all the time, who like playing, who don't like training. You'd like to think their mentality's right, but you've got to say that if it can work against you if you play an extra game before a big game and one of your main players gets injured. Southside?
Aye, I think it might, because the game's scheduled. We've got time now for Ross County on Sunday, and then we know we're playing Dundee. It might suit the team in Clement that he'll put that game in, because let's be honest, you could get injured against Ross County as well before we play Hearts in the semi-final, so injuries do come along, but it might suit us because he'll pick his strongest team obviously for Sunday, but he'll also have a team in mind for him, and he might want to rotate a couple of players in the lead up to the semi-final. So it might work in our favour slightly that the team that we're starting to tick out and you'll get to make changes. Most important thing is the next 2 league games we play now, we know that, and leading into the cup game, they 2 are must-wins before it's a must-win on the Sunday against Hearts.
Stevie?
Can I ask you something about the Scottish setup? How did you go about the pricing of the tickets? Because, like when we go to Hibs, we'll say 33 quid a ticket. But when St Mirren go there, they might only be 25. How does that happen? Do they set it at the start of the season? You charge us this and we charge you that, or is there going to be some kind of guideline for the powers above?
Home team set the fees, mate.
Right. Well, I mean, £33 is some of the. I mean, Southside's just told you there. Some of the grounds we've been to early years is just how do you even get fire certificates is beyond me. But I just think I'm going to say the stupidest thing here, right? But I love how these guys do it, right? Germany, we know they get some amount of TV money, and we know they can chop things because of the amount they get TV. But see, just the wee simple things like when you buy a ticket for Hamburg, that gets you on the transport there and back. Just give the fans something back. It's absolutely brilliant. No, you get a ticket for a German game, that gets you on your bus or train to the ground, and then your bus or train back. You know, it's just in the truth, just something simple as that. No. But some of the pricing is, I just think, it's mental. I mean, there's Dundee, even the game we've got. It would much of the tickets against Southside was £66 for £33 each.
Aye.
33 quid, let's be honest. I don't. Even their wee new stadium, you can't even. I mean, the queues are miles long to get in tea and whatever. You're travelling a way up there. It's just the facilities are crap. You're kettled in and treated like mud in and out. All because you fly a Union Jack, you're just treated like mud everywhere you go. And it's a disgrace because you're a Rangers fan, how you're treated sometimes. The pricing of the game is a way gone and all. There's what you've got in the park and some of these grunts you're going to. Shouldn't it be as dear as that? Shouldn't it be?
A couple of SMP signs and all in stadiums, I think, should be took out and all.
I thought you wanted to promote it like that. I thought that was against.
No, go to St Mirren Park and you'll see an advert proudly presenting it. Aye.
Oh, I know that. Well, not just there. I think St Johnson's got them around. I got them, but you're not meant to do it, but they'll turn a blind eye to that. Because we all know who that benefits.
Not for much longer, mate. Not for much longer. Stevie, I think the pricing argument's difficult, you know, because obviously everybody will try and cover their costs. And playing devil's advocate, obviously, Dundee only charging enough to other supporters if they're making a loss of £3 million. Yeah. You know, but listen, the ones that pay the most is traditionally the people who travel for the West or Scotland, yeah.
But we work in the same factories as St Mirren fans and Hamilton fans and all these guys, Partick Thistle. We work in the same factories as them, so how's the pricing different for us because we're Rangers? Is that right?
With more money to put a game on, Stevie, with the facilities, the cost of the stewarding, the poles, etc. So they'll need to cover their costs. If I'm playing devil's advocate, yeah. I'm in a bus for St Mirren, I'll no need any stewarding, will it? Southside.
Why not?
I think it comes down to stewarding costs, category of the game and all that as well, Stevie. You know, I think it all comes into the thing when it comes to pricing for tickets and stuff as well. I think that's one of the things that they do. And obviously, if you look at the cost of the tickets at Ibrox, coming into a far better facility, obviously. But even what some away fans are charging, and even our prices, even in Europe, were pretty dear compared to, as you mentioned, Germany, for watching games. So pricing's only going to go up, let's be honest. We'll get a rise. Would you expect to have a rise in your season ticket for next season?
If we win the league, it's going to go up, isn't it?
Well, you don't think it would go up if we didn't? You don't think it would...
in fairness.
And saying that, Davey will get a discount, wouldn't you, Davey, being that pensioner?
Oh, definitely. Aye. All day long. Come on, guys. Give us all a break. I think actually you need a Philadelphia lawyer to sort of wangle that out and break it down. I mean, that's for the financial side. It's very hard to call.
The thing about it is, Stevie, you probably want. But what I think we should change the league. I think we need to expand it slightly. 18 might be too big because you might get a lot of meaningless games. But in that, if it was only one team down and one team up, and say you played the playoff game for the team that finished 17th, right, in an 18-team league, then the other teams that were in it, they might get to play some of the young boys, because once they get to a certain level, Stevie, then they might be able to play some of the young players. Then a team will take a chance on them, it will get them money, and then they can reinvest in some of the young players or try and buy a player for their team. So I see the benefit in that going forward, that some of the teams, because now it's cutthroat, but I think in a bigger league, you might see some younger players come through at other teams and you get more game time and you can get a chance to pick some of them. Davey?
I agree with that totally. I definitely think this playing 4 times each other is just not on. I don't see that being entertaining. And that's another thing they need to take out of the equation to make it a bit more interesting, because that just, I think if you asked everybody what they thought of that, they'd say, oh, and it's not even that, you can get them in the cup.
I think we're being joined by Robert.
Evening, guys. How we doing?
How you doing, Robert?
Listen, obviously, evening, Oxshire. Listen, obviously, I'm still dejected after that. Bottle merchant performance on Sunday. That's all it was. Bottle performance on Sunday for that team. They done their usual, let us down when it comes to the crunch. But I want to ask a question tonight. I want to ask you guys a question, right? So we're all disappointed that game gets put off tonight. Yes, and that's the second time, not the first time. But the question I want to ask you is, see, if that was a rotten mob, they would be doing a lot more about this. They would be coming out and shouting to the rooftops about this. Where is your board? Where is your board? Oh, they come out with a feeble statement tonight. Where is your board that don't have any backbone? And I'll tell you, Oxford, I can't stand the Rangers board. I didn't stand the Rangers board before it with Douglas Park, and I'll say it again. I can't stand them because they don't stand up for our team. But yet, they'll not come out and say anything. They'll not really come out and come up with the real truth, but they'll come out and go, oh, Peter Livell, jump. How high do you want us to jump? That's what our Rangers board do. Livell, jump Rangers, and how high do you want us to jump? I'm sorry, guys. I'm disappointed with our board. Our board lets us down time and time again, and that's only my opinion. And I think it's time we all stood up and we started talking the truth here. We started talking the truth. This is a disgrace what's happening with our club, and our board is a disgrace.
I didn't realise the board caused the weather, Robert, but Southside.
Good to hear you on the night, Robert. I'm glad you popped on. No, listen, I think the board, listen, I was going to go up tonight, right? We come back and we've come on the show. I didn't see a lot, Robert. I seen the clubs put out a statement, right? So I don't know what else. And Clement was pretty vocal about it the other day as well in his interview, right? And it's annoying that the game's been put off. But I don't know what else. I think we've got to wait and see what the SPFL do, Robert, because the rules are you might have a part playable and all that. So I think the board have put out a statement, mate. I don't know what more you want them to do at this minute in time. What the other mob would do, Robert, I'm not interested, but I get it. They could probably be kicking up and saying this and that. I get it. I think Rangers have come out and said a statement tonight, and I think for the now, I think that's all they could have done. But
Southside, this is the problem we've got. No, it's all right saying we're no interested in what the other mob do. Well, we should be interested because they're ruling Scottish football and we're doing nothing about it. We're doing nothing about it, Southside. And Southside, we need to start waking up. This board yours is a shambles. They're so negative. They don't. When do you ever hear that Bennett come out and making statements and standing up for our club? When does any of them come up and stand up for our club? The way Lywell does and the rest of them do. No, we lambs, we just accept it. We just accept it. And you can't tell me, and I'm going to say this right now, you cannot tell me on this Rangers Radio, our board's doing a great job. £67 million wage bill, is that them doing a great job? £60 million wage bill, and and this can't be sustainable. And I'm sorry I'm getting off on a rant here, because I've been dying to see this for months and years. This Rangers board is a disgrace. They will not stand up for our club. They take their money off it. Australia's one of the things they've done where they take their money and they're not interested in the Rangers fans. That's all they are. Bennett and Bisgrove, don't start knowing him, because I know what I want to call him, and I won't say it on Rangers Radio, but I know what I want to say about Bisgrove.
All right. Stevie.
Well, I agree with Robert, certain bits of what he says. I do agree with, if this was them at the other end of the city, they'd be coming out with propaganda. Don't worry about that. They'd be digging their heels in and they would be turning it into they're the victims. This is a disgrace. Why? We're not as vocal as them. We're not as triple wide as them. And sometimes we should be a wee bit more brutal than what we come out with. I mean, Ranger, he's right. We just come out and we come out with wee soft statements. See if that's what did happen to them Southside, they would be screaming hell. They be, you know yourself, we've all said that the Tim implosion, we're all waiting at the sharp fences and all that. We all say it all the time. And all the Rangers platforms, we all say it, if this was them, it would be Tim implosion and you would get the clouds all green with the big clown blowing. Listen, we as a club, he's right, they need to start sharpening their pencil and start putting the boot in when we can get it and put it in and dig our heels. Just like this time here, that they've moved this game to next Wednesday. We've just agreed to do that. I would have stalled that. I would have tried to, if this was them across the other side of the city, they would have stalled us in some way. They would have made them sweat at least. He's right, we do need to sharpen up. But where I disagree with Robert is, I don't dislike the board, and I wouldn't say they've done a terrible job. Maybe when we look at the wage bill, maybe pound for pound for what we're getting, but you can blame guys like Beale and guys like that for making that way with wage bills. I mean, it was a rebuild that needed a rebuild. It was as plain as simple as that. And we're lucky enough Big Clamont's come in and he's got a tune out certain guys. We wouldn't have been in the situation we are if it wasn't for him. But financially off the field, it's no all been bad. There's been a lot of good things done behind the scenes to generate money. But I get back to what Robert's saying. They know how to use propaganda and we are miles behind. I said it earlier on in this show, Scottish football is corrupt from the top right down. And Ox said it himself, all these clubs bought into it. And what have they got in the long run? They took the quick fix and knew the Scottish football product is falling apart at the seams. For a crap national stadium, for a crap Premier League, crap split, crap grounds, overpriced rubbish, and we can't even get games played now. I rest my case, Your Honour.
Davey?
Oh, I'm not getting involved in this. That's too technical for me. I'll let me, Robert, carry on. No, I know where he's coming from, but I mean, I don't think it's helped after Sunday. I mean, up to then, we were on the crest of a wave. Nobody was talking about the board or this or that, the next thing. We were all quite happy. We got a snidey result half time. We came out of it, they no bad. What happened today happened. You deal with it and you get on with it, guys. That's it for me. You get into the board scenario, well, that's too tight. I know maybe I should take it more no to it, but it's not for me.
See, the thing is about the board, right? You can go back and say this and that. Aye, but have we got a high wage bill? Of course we have. That's not just the first team wage bill. That's the overall wage bill as well, Robert. And I know for a fact that when we brought in some of the young boys, we've had to pay fees for them as well. Like when we attract somebody like Lovelace to come up, that we're hoping they would do well and promote and get into the first team. And through injury and one or two other things, he's not made it. But he cost money. We had to shell out money for him. We shelled out money for Archie Stevens, was another one that hasn't come in yet. But he's got high pedigree in that. So the board have made mistakes. Of course they have. They're no hang me. And as Albert said on here, they're in a privileged position where they get to wear the blazer and make decisions in the boardroom. If I'd saved up the money in the last 40 year odds that I've watched Rangers, I could probably have had a blazer and be sitting in the boardroom with as much money as some of them and all. But unfortunately, I'm daft and I spend it going to watch the Rangers. But that's just life, Robert. We're hoping the board are in. They're turning it round. They've had to fight fires for a long time, Robert. The deals that were tied in with Ashley and all that, and it still took a long while for us to generate money, to get money into the club. I know we went and supported it and put money in, Robert, but we still we've had to do up a lot of work all around about Ibrox, and we've tried to do this Edmondson House project as a way of generating more money into the club. And they seen it in a viable long-term project, Robert, but it looks like no.
Right, Southside, you're right what you're saying, but why isn't nobody coming in for our players, our B-team players? Because they're all getting paid 8 to 10 grand a week. Guys like King and all that, and Lovelace you've just mentioned, they're all getting paid far too much money, and that's why nobody's coming in to buy our players, because they can't afford them. And Southside, that's all down to our board. That's all down to our board. And I understand they had to spend money running about the stadium. But come on, this has been going on for years, and this is the same excuses we keep making up and sticking up for the board. Southside, I'm sorry, that board is a disgrace, the way they're running our club. We're £67 million and we're only bringing in, £82 million. This is not sustainable, and Rangers fans need to wake up. See the way we're going. We're going to be oblivion. I'm telling you right now, the way we're going, we cannot sustain what we are doing, paying guys 33 grand a week, guys like Connor Golson and Southside, you've said it yourself, 39 grand a week. We cannot continue to do this, and there's B-team players on 10 grand a week, and we cannot afford to do what we are doing. And I'm sorry, we have to wake up to the big picture.
Aye, listen, Robert, you're going to attract players, right? We've attracted probably the best goalkeeper in Scotland, right? Jack Buckland doesn't come cheap, you know.
Right, and that's understandable, because you could probably sell him. You could probably sell him for 10 or 15 million pounds, but you're not going to sell Raskin, you're not going to sell Campbell, you're not going to sell Lawrence and the rest of them for 4 or 5 million pounds, because nobody wants them, because they're not good enough. They're not good enough to play for our club.
Well, time will tell on that, Robert. Listen, we bought Raskin, right? He's a young player. Do I think we could have tried to have got, I'll tell you now, I like the boy that's away to Airdrie on loan. His contract's up at the end of the season. Aaron Lyle, think he's a cracking player. Albert would even tell you. Seen him many a time. Great vision, great skill and all that. But for some reason, he's not managed to push his way in. And that'll be down to Phil Clement, because he's probably had him up, seen him, but he's put him out to Airdrie. Might come back and he might come into our team next year. I don't know his mindset. We might have to offer him a contract. But Robert, I think the problem is the games that we're playing now. We're not playing competitive games. We're playing these B games. So, just for instance, I'll try and do it quickly, right? Just use Adam Devine as an example. Adam Devine's out at Motherwell on loan. Now, when he comes back in the summer, is he going to push Tav to get in that place, or have a vision of saying in 2 years' time, next season I'm going to play, say, 15 games. I'll get 15 games in the first team. Next year I'll hopefully be a first team player if he performs well. So, or does he come back and play in the B games? Or next season, because he's not going to feature in the Rangers team. So then we'll have to go and sell him and get money for him then. That's what we need to do. Because that boy might not be happy playing these non-competitive B games. Stevie, do you know what I'm saying? He's getting a taste of first team football. Lowry had a taste of first team football. we've got other boys out on loan. And there's the boy Aaron Lyle, for instance. His contract's up. Great player. That boy will go and make it somewhere, Stevie, believe me. But he maybe no make it at Rangers. And same as Leon King, no at centre-back. He's not making it at Glasgow Rangers, in my opinion. So he'll probably have to get sold.
Can I ask Robert something?
Aye, on you go.
Yeah, David.
Hi, Robert. Well, it's good to hear you.
Dave. Same you, David. And by the way, David, can I say something? See, the other night you come on the programme, pal, after we do the free each game, pal. Well done to you when you said, I don't care about the conditions and the weather. And you were the one that came on the show, David. And I've got to say, I was proud of you the other night, pal. On you go, David.
Cheers, Robert. What I was going to say to you, you put me off now.
Answer him briefly, Robert, answer him back briefly, right?
No, sorry, no, but what I was going to say to you, Robert, is please don't take this the wrong way, Robert, because I think the world of you. Now, if we go on and win the league, which is more than possible, do you still think you would feel the same way about what you're talking about with the board?
But David, that's all ifs and buts, pal. That's all ifs and buts. If we won the David, I would, because I think they've let us down badly. Over the years. It's only my opinion, David. It's only my opinion. Gerrard wanted to take it forward, and you all can have your opinion about Gerrard, and Douglas Park wouldn't back him. That's only my opinion. I could be totally wrong here, but that's only my opinion, David. So, if we won the league and we won the title, of course I'm going to be over the moon, David. Of course I'm not, but I still get questions at that board because they don't stand up for us, David. They don't stand up for us in any way. They don't have a backbone. I'm sorry.
I know where you're coming from, Robert. I really don't know too much about that side of the football, so I can't really make a good sort of answer to that. I'll leave it to you guys.
Here's an example, Robert.
Yep, I'm waiting on that.
Here's an example.
Here's an example about what the board.
This board. Because remember how
67 million pound wage bill. There's an example. £39,000 for Connor Golson. There's an example.
That's not this board, Robert. That board's they're part. Of course, they are part of it, Oxford. Come on, you cannot deny it. They're part of the board. The guy who was pulling the strings is no longer there, mate. It's changed.
I know, but Oxford, do you honestly think this board's doing a great job? They won't open their mouth, Oxford. Their silence is unbelievable. They won't open their mouth and stick up for your club. All they want to seem to do is take the money. And Oxford, here's another one. £5 million it was meant to cost for the Edmondson House, and it cost £13 million. 30 grand they made in 6 months, but it was meant to make £1 million. Where's that all? Where's that giving me confidence in your Rangers board when the things like that come? 30 grand they made in 6 months.
I can answer the reason for the cost going up. Yeah, because obviously it was planned before 2020, and all the material shot up as a world shortage due to COVID. The revenue streams for Edmondson House, I've not got any information on that, Robert.
Right, Oxford, I understand what you're saying, and you're trying to stick up for the club, and that's commendable. But I'm sorry, we need to look at the bigger picture here, and it's no looking good the way we're going. Oxford, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it right now. I think we've won the league, and that's the truth. And I hope I'm totally wrong. I think we have.
It's not what you put the white flag up, Robert. You're famous.
Right,
for it.
But Oxford, if you think we're going to go down and win at Park Keys, let's be honest.
Statistics tell you that I'll always go there, think we'll win. I don't say we're not going to win.
And so they are.
No, you don't, Robert. You're always going to speak. You're always putting up the white flag.
No, that's nonsense, by the way. That is absolute nonsense, because I'm there. I know what some of the Rangers fans that walked out after Celtic scored the third goal on Sunday. I stayed to the end, and I stayed for the 8 minutes, but I know what some Rangers fans who watched it through the window at Edmondson House when Rangers got the third goal. I was there right to the end, so I didn't put up the flag, the white flag, mate.
You've got to beat at Parkhead before we've even kicked the ball. We might have 5 games.
Oxford, it's 80-20 they won at Parkhead. When was the last time we won at Parkhead?
When Katic scored.
Aye, yeah, so you've got to be honest about it. You really think we can do it at Parkhead and we're going to win?
When Alan Miller scored, we hadn't won there for 9 years, mate.
Exactly, and that was a one-off. And I know one-offs can happen, Oxford. And I'll tell you, I hope you're right and I'm wrong, pal. I hope you're right and we can go down there and win. But this Rangers team, they're ball merchants. That's what they are. They're losers, complete losers. They couldn't even beat a poor Celtic team on Sunday. A poor Celtic team on Sunday.
Who we blaming for that? James Henry Tavernier?
Well, yes, at the start, it was terrible defending, but I also blame your own favourite, your wee Tom Lawrence. Where was he? He was nowhere in the game. And where was your manager? Where was your manager with his team line-up? Oxford, this is the greatest manager. As Bridgman says, we've got a manager that's by far better than him down the road. I don't think so. Yeah. So come on, got to be honest in this programme.
Robert,
can you all be honest and stop talking nonsense?
I'll be honest, Robert, right? See, I've heard you say before that you don't fancy this and you've conceded the league and all that. I've never conceded nothing on here. I said here months ago, this mob can still be caught. And everybody had his, we can't catch them, we'll not be this and that. Yeah. And for you, our record up there isn't great, Robert, but don't ever think we can't go up there and get a result with this team.
This manager's work.
Well, you're saying we can't beat them. We can still beat them. We can beat them up there and all.
Well, we've not beat them 3 times this season. We've not beat them 3 times this season.
Robert, I get that. But don't tell me they're no beatable up there in that midden after the Glasgow Rangers, Robert. Don't geese that. We can't beat them. No, you even said you'd support the board if we won the league. You might still not be happy with them, but you said you'd support them. The board they're in, Bisgrove had nothing to do with the board. He was commercial director. Dane Wonders getting in £29 million plus for deals into the club. He might not be perfect in everything he's done, but he generated that much money into the club. We had nothing. He done that turnover in his job when we brought him in, and he done a right good job. But you can't say he didn't. Now they've promoted him into a job that he wasn't ready for, maybe, but they've seen what he's got and you maybe think he'll grow into the job. So he wasn't on the board. We've now promoted George Taylor onto the board. We've got a new guy in international scouting. We're doing a restructure of a scouting programme and everything else. So they're doing steps, might not be all perfect, but they're trying. And we can still win this league, Robert. 100% we can win this league.
I'm not saying we can't outside. I'm not saying we can't win the league, but I'll tell you, it's highly unlikely. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a defeatist here, but I'm only saying as it is. They had an opportunity on Sunday, and what did they do? They blew it big style, just like they blew it every other season. They're blowing it because they're ball merchants. And my favourite's the same as Golson. How that guy's getting a game for Rangers, I don't understand. That Golson's been rotten for weeks and weeks, but their manager won't change it.
All right, Stevie, in you come, mate.
Listen, it's Robert's opinion, but for me personally, I know we've not beat them this season, but we've got to beat Dundee a week's time, a week for the night. We've got to be 2 points front going into the Pedo Dome. So I'm going to tell you now, whether Robert thinks I'm right or wrong, we've got to win this league. Whether Robert writes us off or no, that's another thing. My opinion is we're going to win the league. And by the way, Robert, I heard you saying something there about Edmiston House. Is there something you want to say?
There is something I want to say, Stevie. Will you look through the window with Alex Whistle when Rangers were 3-2 down at Ibrox? Will you know I'm there at the end of the game and cheering on the Rangers to get a free straw? That's all I'm going to say.
Aye. No, I'll tell you, Robert, I was with Alex Whistle, and I did leave in the 91st minute.
And why? Why did you leave?
Because I had to meet somebody for over by for something else. And the game was going on and on and on, and I had to leave. If you might notice, my son was the way, man. I had to wait on my son as well. So that's the only reason I was out there. But Robert, if you want to have a proper guy that goes home and away, I think you need to start sharpening your pencil and go to away games and put as much money in as guys like me in Southside Day when you want to have a pop like that.
No, well, you want to have a pop at me when I'm leaving on a show to defend myself about Fabio Silva, Stevie. You had a pop at me about Fabio Silva when I said about how much money Rangers pays from, and you waited to 2 nights later and you come on Rangers Radio and you had a pop at me. So that's the reason I'm having a pop back to you, Stevie. I've nothing against you. I actually like you. But you waited 2 nights and you came on and had a pop at me. You couldn't have a pop at me when I was on the show that night. So that's why I'm having a pop back.
Well, at least I keep it to football. I don't go personal with it. But anyway,
and don't give all this nonsense about you going to every home and away game. Stevie, for 20 years I never missed a Rangers game. Never missed a Rangers game home and away. So don't you dare turn around and say you're a better Rangers supporter than me because you go to home and away with the corrupt my jail system.
I never said better Rangers. I was a better Rangers supporter.
Can you come, Davy?
It's not wrong with my jail system.
Is there anybody there?
Can you come, Davy?
Is it not a matter of fact that we're talking about what Robert's saying, that we'll not beat them? We don't need to beat them.
Oh, that's it.
We win all our games, we get a draw, we win the league. So it's not a case of we're going to get beaten.
And by the way, history tells you that, and usually in football, there's some twist and turn, and hopefully it's in their favour. Listen, we've reached that time in the evening. Good to hear from Robert there. Last word for your good self, Davy.
It's a great debate. It always is a great debate. Everybody says what they want to get carried away with some things. That's just the nature of the beast. Thanks for listening to me, guys. I'll probably not be able to speak to you again because I fly out on Sunday, actually just prior to the kick-off at Ross County. So you stay safe, guys, and I love you all, and God bless you, dears. Good night, boys.
Davey, if you send me your keys, I'll let your window cleaner in.
That's brilliant. Fabulous. Good night, boys. Good night.
Big Stevie.
Thanks for having us on the show tonight, mate. It's just good debate as normal. Some can do it with sober, some can do it with a wee swallow in them. And I thoroughly enjoy it all the time. Love it. Love following my team all the country. Now, know what happened in the past. Now is what counts. That's the difference. Right, thanks for having us, Ox.
Cheers, mate. Southside.
Aye, it's been entertaining the night. Good points, good debate as always. I was just going to ask Robert about my jails, but I think he'd went, so it doesn't matter. But no, listen, it's there was people leaving at half time on Saturday, and Sunday, so whether you stay 90 minutes or you have to go early, it shouldn't make any difference. We're here to support the Glasgow Rangers, and we can go to Parkhead and we can certainly win there, record or no record, up for debate. So always keep the flag flying high, and we'll always support the Rangers all the way to the end. So thanks for having us on tonight, mate. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Good to be on my big wingman tonight, as always. So thanks for
calling me. I had to take that call, mate. I appreciate it, mate.
No worries.
All right. Thanks to Robert for joining us. Always entertainment and Robert's on. Thanks to old Davey. The old Fox, the Silver Fox, yes. Thanks to Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. Stevie and Southside for doing the show at short notice and changing their plans to do Rangers Radio. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 talking about all things Rangers.